Life is a mountain we must climb.
Life is a mountain we must climb.
We've got to get up.
We've got to get up, but sometimes
we slide down.
So Inspiring Lives is a small charity that aims to bring hope, love and restoration to families in which there is a child with a disability. We want to do this by celebrating what has been, acknowledging the pain of any loss, and enable families to create beauty in what lies ahead.
There's a real need for supporting the family in a more holistic manner, looking at the siblings particularly.
Inspiring Lives comes out of our friends and family's personal experience.
We had 4 children. Our eldest, Katie, developed cancer at the age of 10. As a result of that and the treatment and the complications, she became very disabled in lots of different ways, and for 17 years we lived with a disabled person in our family.
So we have sort of first-hand experience of what it is like to be siblings of someone who's going through this.
So about 2 weeks before my sister was diagnosed with a brain tumour as a child, she wrote a poem about how life is like a mountain.
Fast forward 17 years, after Kate had died, a friend of hers who'd never read this original poem had a dream about all of us climbing a mountain.
And the poem was just like the dream that I had, life being a mountain that we share together and we climb.
So we decided to climb Kilimanjaro as Inspiring Lives for a few reasons really. This felt like kind of the fulfilment of part of these dreams. This is us as a family and friends climbing a mountain and going through hard times together to raise support and awareness for other families who are in similar situations that we've been in.
The children with disabilities bring so much richness to life as well. So there's definite times where they stop and enjoy the view and see how far they've come, see what beauty there is in their life. So we wanted to represent that journey of life being full of challenges but also beauty. With Inspiring Lives, we talk about siblings in the shadows because these siblings can often feel like they're not noticed. A term is used, glass children, to describe them because they just feel like their needs are looked straight through. But we really believe in Inspiring Lives that every child is important and every child is valuable.
I've wound up working in healthcare, but I've seen a real void, I suppose, in the recognition of the impact of sickness and disability on siblings.
As a teacher, I can see the impact of what that has in their education and actually how as schools we often aren't equipped or know how to support siblings and know what they're going through and what impact that has on their life.
I wish sometimes that my mum would have time to take me out. But I think also when I used to feel like that, I used to also feel a bit selfish thinking that because it just felt so superficial in the face of what he was going through. So I never really felt I could express those feelings.
I struggled when the children didn't seem to understand Jonathan's needs, but now I realise it was because their needs weren't being met and their emotional tank was empty.
When I finally did get some support as a young adult and started to work through some of this stuff, I realised children that live alongside siblings with additional needs often deal with loss, but it's an ongoing loss. It's not the same loss as a bereavement that's final.
There's a monumental adjustment because all of us very naively sort of think we will have children that are healthy and well. So every part of our life has shifted considerably.
So by looking at what the needs are of these siblings on a spiritual and emotional level, we hope to come up with some resources to be able to meet them at their level of development so we can appropriately help them work through the big questions that they're going through, whether they're able to verbalise that or not.
We're doing a few things to facilitate this support. Firstly, we're doing an 18-month research project with Birmingham Children's Hospital. This is to look at what support is available and particularly what research is out there and what needs the children have who are in these situations. And hopefully from that we can set up some support services alongside Birmingham Children's chaplaincy department.
What we've found is that there's wide areas of the hospital that are really interested in working with us. So that kind of says to us, okay, they realise that there's a gap in their provision. And what we're hoping with the research is that we find out what are the bespoke needs. What is it for these children? Instead of just doing a little bit of hit and miss, we'll be able to just do a little sharper.
We'd like to develop some training and resources for people who might be in contact with children like the ones we're talking about.
And I think that's where I'm suspecting we'll come up with something quite creative.
When we were climbing Kilimanjaro, there were clear reminders or almost parallels to the life and story that we've had having a disabled sibling within the family. One of these would be, even though we were all on the same trip, the same journey, we all felt the effects differently. But also, even in the best moments, the most beautiful scenes, the best photos and snapshots that people from outside the family will see, often what isn't seen is the underlying difficulty and pain that doesn't go away.
Climbing Kilimanjaro demonstrated how life for these families can be such a long haul. Community comes in the crisis point, but then when the crisis is over, they let the family carry on by themselves.
We've had a lot of those crisis moments, but actually we would probably say life is as difficult now. It's certainly as demanding. But I think it's quite hard to walk with somebody in the longevity of having a disabled child in the family.
But as we were climbing the mountain, our guides stayed with us, they got to know us, they celebrated the victories with us, and they were there in the hard times as well. And we want to enable people to be there the whole journey and not just when life gets tough.
It's such a neglected area because everybody focuses on the child or the parents and not the siblings.
These children just adore their sibling, but also don't know how to cope themselves. And it's only in reflection that I realised that if something like this had existed when we were living with Jonathan, that it would have made a huge difference to our lives.
The essence of inspiring lives is that it comes out of the heart and experience of siblings in this situation. That's why this is important.
We want to help support families keep climbing this mountain of life, and to do it not just clinging on, but also being able to stop and look at the view.
We want to enable people to really invest in these families and be there throughout the whole mountain journey.